Hi Scrappy friends, and welcome back to my channel. We are on our last process video in the 12 Days of Christmas scrapbooking series. It's been so much fun, and it's bittersweet to get to the end of this series because it's been a lot of fun and I did get a lot of scrapping my Christmas done. I hope that you have been scrapping along with me or have plans to catch up once the holidays are over. I'm also running out of Christmas photos. I guess that was one good thing though. I realized that I have a lot more Christmas scrapped already than I had thought. So this is the last process video in the series, but I'll be back probably tomorrow with a layout share to go over all 12 of the double page layouts that we made during this series. So I hope that you can join me for that. Okay, so for today, we are going to jump over to page 107. And again, we're going to tackle another already 2-page spread, so we don't have to make up our second page today. We're going to go with what they have here in the sketch. So let me go ahead and put this up on the screen for you. Okay, so let's take a little bit deeper look at this. And this is, I'm showing you here the sketch and the inspiration, just like I always do. But this is one of those times where we don't really want to look at the inspiration too much, because unless you're using fast to fab pages, then this one is kind of hard to figure out how to add layers to your page, because once I looked at this a little closer, I realized that those were fast to fab pages and I was trying to incorporate different layers, and if we just focus on the sketch, it's a whole lot easier. So let me switch now over to the sketch and we'll talk about that for a minute. So this is, when you look at just the sketch, it's a very, very easy layout to do because it's just one piece of background paper and on both sides, or you can use pattern, you can use cardstock or pattern paper, however you like. And then there's just one border off to the right-hand side. Other than that, there's a couple spots for journaling and a couple embellishment spots. So I think that this is a great way to end our series because it's a pretty easy one. It's pretty easy and we've done a lot. So why not enjoy the fact that, hey, we're going to do an easy layout today. Come on back to my desk and I'll show you what we're going to use for today's layout. Okay, so here we go. Again, we are going to dive into the seasonal sightings paper collection, as well as I have a scrap piece here from one of the Totally Tonal paper packs. I really got a great use out of the red paper pack in this Christmas series and with all my Christmas layouts this year. And then for my background today, I thought I would use brown. I thought, you know, I mentioned in another video how I like to use wood grain paper, and brown is kind of the same. So this is more like a craft type brown, but I thought that would make an excellent 2-page spread. So my photos for today are a little bit challenging because these were taken out of one of those sticky back photo albums, those magnetic photo albums. A lot of them were corner rounded and I wanted them all to be consistent, and so I tried to cut the corners, square off the corners as much as possible, but some of them are a little wonky, but I'm just going to deal with it. These pictures are from 1995, and I would have negatives for these if I wanted to reprint them, but I don't. I just want to get these scrapped and into my album. So let's see if we could kind of lay this out according to the sketch. So I will go ahead and I'll pop that sketch up in the corner so you can follow along. And the sketch has 2 vertical photos right at the top of the left-hand page, and I don't have vertical photos. So let's just see what we have here. I have this photo. That's not vertical. Okay, so then it has one here, here, a bunch of little ones that would probably look great on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side. And then over here, they have 2 horizontal photos, and then in the middle, they have a mat card, which I have one here as well. So it's going to go something like this. Now this one is not a 4x6, but I can easily make it a 4x6 by matting it on top of some cardstock or paper. So I could make it fit into this row. This is very similar to the layout they had in the sketch. They have the 3 photos down here, 2 vertical photos here. I could maybe do something like that. And so now that I'm looking at this, I know right away I do not want to use brown. I want to bring in a piece of patterned paper. So I happen to have all my leftover scraps just sitting here next to me, and my extra papers from the collection. Since this is my last layout, I know exactly what I have left. And I'm going to bring in this green, and let's slide these over to the green. Yeah, much better, much better, and it looks good next to the brown. I will save this brown to the side and probably bring it back in for matting purposes for these photos so that I can bring in some of the brown from the other side. Okay, so now that I'm looking at this also, this page, I do want to turn it. I want to turn it like this because I want to bring in, I haven't used a couple of the border strips, and I really would like to bring in some of the trees if I can. So I want to turn it the other direction. Of course, with the brown paper, I didn't have to turn it. I just turned it so that you can follow along. But I have horizontal photos and not vertical, so I need to kind of switch these around and maybe do something like that. I don't want to bring this one all the way down here because that's where I'm going to want my trees. So let's do something like that. And maybe I could move this picture over here and move this one down. In the inspiration for this, where they used the Fast to Fab, we can kind of use the same design concept, but we're going to bring in some pattern paper instead. And so now that I'm looking at my choices that I picked out for this, I'm not feeling that 100%. I'm feeling like I have a lot of this plaid left from other layouts. I just love this plaid. I have that piece, and then I have a big chunk here. So let me slide that. Yeah, I like that much better. Let's work on the left-hand side first. I'll scoot that one out of the way for a moment so I can bring in my trimmer. This photo is a 4x6. I'll cut a mat for this photo and I'll make it 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Let's get our arm out. 6 1/4. Again, this way I can bring in the brown from the other page. Okay, so I'm just going to simply mat that, scoot this in. On the sketch, you'll see right here they had a journaling card and an extra piece of paper. So I do want to bring in another mat card. I liked this one. And I can put it right here, and then I can lay this photo right actually either on top, and I cover up as much of that green as possible. I would like to have a little border around, and I feel like I can go up or down if I wanted to do that too, and have it hanging off. I like that, the way it looks, just coming off the card. A little bit of green poking out there, but that's okay. And I'm going to push this card. Let's make sure our paper is straight. And I'm going to push this card right up to the edge of this paper. Now, if you're wondering, this was a scrap, but let's see how big that is. That is a 5" by 12. And the other one is, it looks like 2 1/4 by 12. So I like that. I think I want to move this one. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit. Maybe put this one here. So I have this open area. I think I can use that for a nice embellishment cluster. I probably would swap those two around. And what I'm thinking here is to give this a pretty big mat to kind of make it feel like it's a bigger picture than it actually is. So I'm thinking for that, I'm going to cut a 2.5-inch strip of this brown again to bring in. And what I want to do is bring in my handy dandy tag maker, my 3-in-1 beveled tag maker. There we go. Okay, we'll make a little tag, and we don't need it quite that big. So let's see, what do we have? It's about 5 3/4. So let's put that on there. We will do 4 3/4. There, so we're giving that little photo its own little mat. Okay, so I do want to give this a little bit of a mat. Let me bring in a piece of white scrap cardstock. Yeah, let's give this little one a mat. And a little bit of adhesive out. I like to put it on and just kind of eyeball it. I could measure it and cut it precisely, but I can eyeball it, I think, and give it just the right amount of a mat. And there we go. Yeah, that made it nice and makes it look much bigger. I feel like this needs to be matted a little bit, so I'm going to bring in a scrap of cardstock, and this one I'm going to just trim down a little bit. Yeah, that looks a lot better. It just really makes that pop right out. To add a little more red, I'd like to mat this photo also. So again, I will do the same thing I did on the other page and just kind of eyeball it. Now this is one of the photos that has some funky corners. And there we go. Yep, that adds a lot to this side already. I think I need to bring in a little bit of green here. So I have this little scrap and it's a perfect fit. So why not? There we go. Okay, so this is the page layout. I love how it's coming together. I'm not using the papers that I originally thought I was going to, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get this adhered down so I can bring in the trees. There, okay. And let's bring in our trees. These are so cute. I just really wanted to use them in this series. Things so much easier when things are already done, when the borders are already done for you. There we go. That looks great. Now I'll know where I could place these photos. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video there and I'm going to get everything adhered down, and then we'll come back and we'll get some embellishing done. Okay, hold on, I'll be right back. So we are back and everything is adhered down. Now I did come over here to this photo and give it a little bit of a backing in red so that it kind of stands out a little bit more. So let's talk about embellishing. So in our sketch, I'm gonna pop it up here just really quickly on the screen again for you. They had, 2 journaling spots, which I think we conquered that also, just a little bit different of a format. And they don't really have a spot for a titles. We could either journal here or here. So I think I'm just going to put it over here for now and assume that I'm going to journal right there. Now for the title, I think I'll probably do what I normally do and bring it up here in the top left-hand corner. Okay, and then for embellishing, they only had 2 spots in there. They had up here and they had over here on the other journaling. So they used both the journaling mats. So I'm going to change that up a little bit. And I'm going to have a big cluster here. Now, if I had any more photos, surely I would put another one here because I would rather do that. But since I don't, I feel like this is an awesome opportunity to have some fun with a big cluster there. Okay. Then when I positioned these photos on the right hand side, I left plenty of room up here to embellish, so I would like to embellish right there. And then lastly, I probably will come over here to where the title is and do a little bit more embellishing over there as well. Let's go ahead and start with the title. I have this leftover die cut that says Deck the Halls, so I think I would like to do that for my title, and I probably will balance it something like that, and probably bring in some little red enamel dots for the little holes here. And then I think that's it for now. I'll come back in, like I said, and put those enamel dots. Now down here, before I get to my embellishment cluster, down here, I kind of offset this photo a little bit, assuming that I might do a little bit of decorating. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of red embroidery thread and create a tie for this. Okay, so I'm just going to loop that through and grab my scissors and give this a trim. There we go. Just a little bit extra, more red over there. And then I had this little holly berry left from the embellishment pack. So I thought that would be really cute down here. So either under the photo, of course I adhered it pretty good. Yeah, just popping out like that on the photo, from the photo. Then it kind of brings in the holly berries from up there. Okay, so that's just a little bit of extra down here on that tag. So right up here, I have a couple things I want to bring in. I have these stickers. This one I want to use right up here in the corner and come down. It says Merry Christmas, and I love that it's on a little bit of brown wood grain paper. It looks great on our brown. So that's what I want to do there. I'm going to bring in my new square punch and some scrap paper. Okay, now I showed this on my Facebook page a couple weeks ago, and if you haven't been to my Facebook page, every Wednesday I do what I call Workshop Wednesday, and I give little quick tutorials on like tips and whatnot, and I showed this square punch and this little tab that I'm going to make. So basically it goes like this. I'm going to cut out a square, and I'm going to put it up here as a little tab. Then I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap red, and I'm going to punch out a circle. Barely fits in there. Okay. Then I'm going to take this red circle, fold it in half, adhere it to the top of the square, but first I'm going to bring in my corner rounder and give it a little ticket notch punch on both sides of the flattened part of the circle where I folded it. Okay, then we'll take this and we're going to adhere it to the top of the square. So let me get a little bit of tape runner, and let's see, most of this is going to be tucked underneath, so it won't really matter. And then I'm going to press it down, and it makes a little tab, and the tab is going to go right in there. It's cute, right? Then I'm going to take that one more time out, and then I'm going to dress this up a little bit more, and I'm going to bring in these word stickers that I've been using throughout the series, and they are just really getting beat up. They don't come off the sticker sheet that well. Well, that one did, but so they've been getting kind of bent and twisted. This one says Happy Holidays, and I'm going to trim this in half. And actually I do want to trim off a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to say center this as best as I could. Happy Holidays, and we'll give it a little star from our sticker sheet. There we go. Slide this back down so we can see it, and we'll stick our little tab right in there like that. I love that. I love using tabs, and I just think that is super cute. I want to still dress that area up a bit. I love to do like garland or little leafy bits around on my Christmas layout. So I'm going to bring in this 5-leaf punch and another scrap of paper. And I'm going to use this 5-leaf punch, turning it upside down so I can kind of see it. Okay, I'm going to do this just to have a little bit of extra greenery up there and a little bit of extra texture and movement on our page. The leaf to me is movement. It kind of points us in another direction. Okay, and that's going to be that area. Now you can use any kind of leaf there that you want. You can use pine needles, whatever you prefer, you could put there. Okay, I happen to have the 5-leaf punch, so it's sitting out, so I thought, why not just use it? And we are really using a lot of tools today. Now, let's move on to our cluster area. Okay, let's move this out of the way. So this is going to be a fun little area, okay, because we don't do this that often, but I love to make big cluster bases. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this scrap of wood grain paper. Now, if you remember up here, our stickers have that little bit of wood grain. This is a piece of extra wood grain paper from our collection, and it matches, so it's going to look really nice and kind of tie those two in. So that's going to be great. Let's go ahead and get this adhered down. I'm just going to put a little bit in the middle for now in case we decide we want to move it a little bit. I made these ornaments using the square punch over on my Facebook page. Again, this is the same time I made the tabs, I made this one as well. So if you want to see how I made this, go over to my Facebook page. I'll have the link in the description of this video. But I wanted to incorporate this in here. So let's go ahead and put that down at the bottom. And so it's kind of like, it's going to be sort of like my cluster base on top of my cluster base. So this is just my area for clustering, and this is going to be my base. Then I'm going to bring in this tree from the sticker sheet and kind of place it on top of the ornament. And then I have a poinsettia from the sticker sheet also. Then I have this word believe, again from the sticker sheet, and I just want to rest this kind of covering up some of that flower. Okay, so it's going to be touching the tree and the flower and extending over to the edge of our base. Then I would like to bring in this old Creative Memory sticker bow. It's Christmas time, so there's lots of bows and stuff floating around. So I thought that would be cute. I'm going to tuck one of the bows under the poinsettia, and then one will be coming over the top of the edge of the poinsettia. Then I have one more sticker star from the sticker sheet. I'm doing really well using up my sticker sheet during this series also. I'll show in the layout share how much I have left of that when we're all finished. And then I have these little camera embellishments that have been in my tray since I started this series, and I haven't used one yet. So this is just a camera punch out from the photography border making cartridge, and I just love to use these as little embellishments. I just want to tuck it under the word believe a little bit and pull it up. There we go. That is it for our embellishment area. I think it's super cute. It kind of contains everything right there in a row, in a little spot. So I think that's perfect. Let's scoot this back in here so we can see it. There's one more thing left in my tray over here that I wanted to use. And that is this little sticker that says, "Oh, Christmas Tree." And I thought it would look really cute right there next to our finished tree for the year. We didn't have many decorations back then. Our tree's much more fuller with ornaments than it was back in 1995. Then those last little enamel dots, these are just enamel dots from my stash. Let's see here. I'm going to take this shade. They're a little bit different in shades, and put one right there, and take another one, put it right there. Just going to move it down a little bit. I'll probably reinforce that with a little bit of wet glue just to make sure when it comes to enamel dots, I like to make sure that they're not going to end up at the bottom of my page protector. And if you didn't know, I have a video on how I organize these. So I organize them by color, all on these little cards inside a binder. And I will have that video linked at the end of this if you're looking for something else to view this holiday season. That's an old video I did a long time ago, but it shows how I organize my enamel dots. And in fact, let's bring this back in. I'm thinking we might want an enamel dot over here somewhere, maybe right there. Yeah, I like that. And how about one up in our other cluster up here? Let's put it on this side. Do we like it? And maybe another one. Let's see. Let's move that one down. And move, maybe we'll stick it on top of the leaves, touching the leaves. So there we go. Yeah, now we got enamel dots in all of our areas. And then I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave the rest of this open in case I want to do some more journaling. Okay, I want to talk about our condo that we lived in then, and also talk about how it was our daughter's first Christmas. Okay, and there we go. That wraps up this layout, and it also wraps up this series. It's been so fun doing these layouts with you and for you. I really wanted to give this as a gift to all of you who come to my channel all the time. And for those new people that are coming to my channel, I really do appreciate that you guys take the time to watch my videos and all the nice comments that you leave. I do really appreciate it. And of course, if you don't mind hitting that like button, I'd really appreciate that too. That does help spread my content to other people who are interested in viewing the same kind of content. Again, thank you so much. Happy holidays to everyone. And I'll see you real soon with a layout share. Okay? Until next time, everybody, take care. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.